this whole past 3 months has been a blur. It's been super fun. I'm getting to do shit and learn the business of art and music and rock and roll, and it's super engaging. Like, I am like having to teach myself the tech behind embedding ISRC codes and having to save up like $20 every day to spend on making videos and incorporating a business and teaching myself stuff and for AI, kind of chat GPT AI stuff that helps me write scripts for podcasts, and exploring all these different mediums with the availability of AI and the internet, and being able to do a lot with just trial subscriptions to stuff. I am mastering my own music and releasing my own music on multiple platforms that I own and get 100% royalties from. And I own everything and do everything myself. And I'm learning marketing and promotion and social media. And it's a blast, man. And if people knew what was possible with just a little, if they just took the time to learn these things, other people could do it too. I just have spent 15 years holed up honing a craft, learning how to write decent poetry and turning that into lyrics, and I'm just now, within the past 3 months, starting to learn guitar and music. And when I'm just starting off, but I'm committed. This is so much fun. I would do it. I would pay to do it if I wasn't getting paid to do it. It is so much fun, and I'm just going to get better at guitar and music composition. I'm even starting to take guitar lessons, and I'm almost 40, and I have no debt and no kids, no responsibility to anything outside of my own projects. I don't really have any bills other than car insurance, and I live frugally on disability on my family's property, and I have my own little recording studio. How that came about was in my the summer before senior year of high school. My grandmother, her health started to decline, so she came to live with us, and she paid for my dad's mechanics garage to be converted into an apartment with indoor heating and air and a bathroom and shit like that. And I've used it. It's partitioned down the middle with one side living space and the other side a workshop. And right now, family friends are using it as storage, but they're in the process of helping me clean it out so I can use it as a recording studio and playing space for my band. And I'm actively looking for bandmates and guitar players and shit. And it's all very fun and awesome. And sometimes I feel like I have to pinch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming it. And I'm just lucky as shit, and God was watching out for me. And all this time I thought I had the shittiest luck. God was preparing me for this, and I'm very grateful He's looked out for me. It's very obvious that God has worked in my life, and I will never shut up about Him or how Jesus has saved me and saved me from a horrible fate of drug addiction that could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. But I'm in recovery and taking methadone, which some hardcore big book thumpers in AA will tell you that's not recovery, but it really is. And opiates are a different breed. You can't really ever get off of them, because any addiction psychiatrist will tell you that's worth their salt, that opiate addiction fundamentally alters your brain chemistry to where you have to take it long term. And it makes me not suffer, so I can think clearly and create without being in constant pain. So it's what I have to do to stay healthy and happy. And I'm not ashamed of that. It's a condition like the flu or cancer or anything else that I take medicine for and live a normal life otherwise. And we can all lessen the stigma that addicts and people with other mental illnesses face by supporting their efforts to get clean and get in recovery. And even people who are still in active addiction don't deserve our derision and hate. They deserve our support. This opioid epidemic is an act of war by a foreign country, China. And we shouldn't be blaming individual people for what's being systematically done to Americans in an attempt to demoralize us from within. When you see people in the Tenderloin of San Francisco, wherever it is, frozen, standing up, bent over, that's a hostile act of war by a foreign aggressor, and it's a war crime. This is being done against innocent civilians. And China is doing to us what the West, in particular Great Britain, the elite of Great Britain, did to China in the 1800s in the Opium War. We went in with superior firepower and used our military to sell the Chinese people opium. Opium does not originate in China. It's a British concoction, a medicine invented by British science, and it was British capitalism that forced it down China's throat when they were too weak to resist it. And this speaks to the need for an armed population to be able to stand up to organized fuckery. But also, when you see all this carnage of people living in tent cities in California and all over the country, really, and this rampant drug addiction, this does not have to happen. It actually takes a tremendous effort to traffic these drugs in. And drug trafficking is a way for intelligence agencies to fund their black operations and off-book shit, and without having to have congressional oversight. And until we can get the criminality out of our deep state and intelligence, it's going to continue being this way. It's not really China doing this, it's our own deep state. And everybody knows, it's an open secret, that our intelligence agencies sell drugs all over the world. We have the real reason we have been in Afghanistan is because that's where we have been growing our poppies for drug trafficking, and some of it is used for legitimate medicine, and some of it goes to illicit drug trafficking. And the reason Israel is so important has nothing to do with religion. That's what they tell the masses, quote unquote masses, but it's really about Israel's strategic position for international trade and drug trafficking and finance, drugs, and human trafficking. They're positioned strategically in the world at a choke point, and they keep the trade flowing for us. But they've abused their position and kind of taken shit over within our institutions and have kind of done us wrong. They are a tool of the British Empire, and you can't really blame Jews themselves for being used by the British. This is a ingrained power structure that is done scientifically. This is scientific fuckery, high-tech scientific fuckery that's used to facilitate and cover for trillion-dollar trade in global trade. They say rock and roll is dead. Maybe it is, or maybe it's just mutating, unrecognizable to the old guard. The gatekeepers with their record label lunches and backroom deals are choking on the dust of disruption. Social media, AI, streaming, those aren't just buzzwords, they're seismic shifts. The ground is moving, and anyone who isn't digging in or learning to surf is going to be buried. I remember a time when getting your music heard meant kissing rings, groveling for airplay, and signing away your soul for a shot at the big time. Now, a kid with a laptop and a half decent song can bypass the whole damn system, produce the tracks, design the cover with AI, release a limited edition vinyl run through print on demand, and promote it all on TikTok. The barriers to entry have crumbled. The playing field, well, it's supposedly leveled. But don't think for a second that freedom is truly free. New gatekeepers always emerge. Algorithms, shadow bans, and curated playlists. The levers of control just get a little more subtle and a little more insidious. And the promise of individual empowerment, it's always tempered by the realities of a systemic force. The agenda is humming beneath the surface of the machine. We'll be diving into all of that today, the good, the bad, the ugly truth about the business of rock and roll in the digital age, how technology can liberate the artist, fuel entrepreneurship, and challenge the status quo, but also how that same technology can be weaponized, manipulated, and used to further agendas you probably won't approve of. It's a tightrope walk, folks. One wrong step and you're falling into the abyss. And before we go any further, a word from the people who make this podcast possible. This is Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, brought to you by Monarch Literary, a subsidiary of Monarch Holdings International Incorporated. They're putting their money where their mouth is, giving us a platform to voices that aren't afraid to challenge the narrative, to speak truth to power, even when that truth is uncomfortable. The new rock and roll battlefield, streaming, socials, and survival. Let's be blunt. Being an artist in 2024 is a goddamn grind. The romantic image of the rock star lounging in a mansion fueled by endless creativity and record label advances is the relic of a bygone era. Today, most musicians are struggling to make rent, let alone a decent living, off their art. And the very technology that promised to liberate them is often the instrument of their oppression. The streaming myth. Streaming services promise to democratize music distribution. Anyone could upload their tracks and theoretically reach millions of listeners. The reality? The revenue generated per stream is so minuscule that you need millions upon millions of plays just to earn enough to cover basic living expenses. We're talking fractions of a cent per stream, pennies adding up, well, to not much at all. Spotify and Apple Music are profiting handsomely, while the vast majority of artists are barely scraping by. The model is broken, designed to enrich the platforms, not the creators. Social media serfdom. Then there's the social media monster. Gone are the days when artists could focus solely on their music. Now they're expected to be content creators, constantly churning out videos, posts, and engaging with fans online. It's a 24/7 job, a relentless demand for attention in a digital landscape saturated with noise. Artists are forced to become marketers, influencers, and personalities, often sacrificing their artistic integrity in the process. The pressure to go viral, to chase the algorithm, is immense, and it can be soul-crushing. The algorithmic A&R man. And speaking of algorithms, they've become the new A&R men. Record labels used to scout talent, nurture artists, and invest in their development. Now algorithms decide who gets heard and who gets buried. Playlists are king. And getting placement on a popular playlist can make or break an artist's career. But those playlists are often controlled by major labels, or influenced by opaque algorithms that favor established artists or those who pay to play. The supposed democratization of music has simply replaced one set of gatekeepers with another, one that is arguably even more insidious and unaccountable. The illusion of independence. The narrative is that technology has empowered independent artists, and to some extent that is true. They can record music in their bedrooms, as I do, release it online, and connect with fans directly. But this independence is often an illusion. They're still reliant upon platforms controlled by massive corporations, beholden to algorithms they don't understand, and competing against a tidal wave of content for fleeting attention. The major labels still wield immense power, controlling vast catalogs of music, dominating radio airplay. Yes, radio still matters, and leveraging their resources to manipulate the streaming ecosystem. Rewriting the rules, a call to arms. So, is it all doom and gloom? Not necessarily. The landscape is challenging, no doubt, but the rules are being rewritten, and there are opportunities for artists who are willing to adapt, innovate, and fight for their place in the digital age. It requires a new mindset, a willingness to embrace technology while remaining critical of its limitations, and a commitment to building authentic connections with fans. It's a battlefield, no question, but it's a battlefield where the underdog can still win, where creativity, resilience, and a healthy dose of rebellious spirit can overcome the odds. The solo artist's arsenal, AI, print on demand, and direct distribution. Let's talk turkey. We spent some time discussing and dissecting the meat grinder that is the modern music industry, how streaming pays pennies, and how social media demands your soul as a tribute. Sounds bleak, right? Like the big boys still hold all the cards, and yes, they hold a lot of them, but the game isn't rigged completely in their favor anymore. Not if you're smart. Not if you're willing to be an entrepreneur first and an artist second, or hell, maybe an artist as an entrepreneur. The beauty of the digital age, amidst all its surveillance and data mining, is that it's put some serious power tools in the hands of the individual. Tools that used to cost a king's ransom, requiring labels and studios and layers of middlemen. Now, a significant chunk of that infrastructure can be rented, subscribed to, or even built on a laptop. This is where rubber meets the road for self-reliance, for free enterprise in its purest form within the creative sphere. It's about taking control, cutting out the leeches, and building your own damn pipeline from your brain to the listener's ears. The AI co-pilot, from idea to album art. Let's start with the creative engine itself, music creation. Forget the image of the lone genius staring blankly at a dusty piano. While that still happens, the modern artist has a new collaborator, artificial intelligence. Now, before you purists start choking on your artisanal coffee, I'm not saying AI replaces human creativity. Not yet, anyway. And I don't think it's ever going to be the case. But it's a hell of a co-pilot in an idea factory, a sonic assistant that can shatter creative blocks and expand your palette. Think about AI subscription services geared towards music production, tools that can generate chord progressions or melody ideas in a style you specify, produce drum beats or bass lines that fit your track's feel, even generate entire instrumental backing tracks based on simple prompts or reference lines. You can feed it a rough sketch and say, give me a gritty blues shuffle, or generate an ambient pad that feels like foggy morning. It's not writing your masterpiece for you, but it's like having an infinitely patient bandmate who knows every genre and never complains about your solos. It can help you quickly prototype ideas, explore avenues you wouldn't already have thought of, and fill in gaps in your own musical knowledge or instrumentation. It lowers the barrier to entry for those who aren't virtuosos on every instrument, but have strong creative concepts. It's not just about the sound. What about the visual identity? Album covers, promotional art, social media visuals. This used to require hiring a graphic designer, and a good one wasn't cheap. Now, AI image generators are spitting out unique, high-quality visuals in a second based on text prompts. You can create striking, memorable album art that perfectly captures the mood of your music without spending a dime beyond the subscription cost, or often for free with limitations. Want an image of a lone wolf howling at two moons over a neon cityscape? Done. Need an abstract representation of existential dread in shapes of purple and black? AI can conjure it. This allows the artist, the entrepreneur, to maintain complete control over their band's aesthetic, iterate quickly, and save significant capital. It's a powerful tool for translating abstract ideas into tangible visual assets instantly. It's self-reliance amplified by silicon. Print on demand, vinyl without the vultures. Okay, so you've got the music, you've got the killer album art, perhaps cooked up with your AI assistant. Now you need to get physical products into the hands of your fans. This used to be another colossal hurdle. T-shirts, minimum orders of hundreds. CDs, pressing plants required significant runs. Vinyl, forget about it unless you had a label backing or thousands of dollars lying around. The upfront costs, the inventory risks, the logistics. It was enough to crush an independent spirit. Enter print on demand, or POD. The concept is simple. When a customer orders a product, say a t-shirt with your band's logo or a poster of your album art, a third-party company prints it on demand and ships it directly to the customer. You don't touch inventory. You don't manage shipping. You just provide the design and collect a percentage of the sale. This has revolutionized merchandise for artists. But the real game changer, especially in the age of streaming's paltry payouts, is print on demand for vinyl records. You heard that right. While traditional vinyl pressing still requires massive minimum orders and months-long waits, new technologies are enabling companies to produce high-quality vinyl records one by one or in small batches, only when an order is placed. This is revolutionary. Think about it. You've got a dedicated fan base, maybe a few hundred or a few thousand listeners on streaming platforms. They love your music, but they know streaming doesn't pay you squat. They want to support you tangibly, to own a piece of physical art. Vinyl is the ultimate collector's item for music lovers. With POD vinyl, you can offer your entire discography on wax without you ever having to press 500 or 1,000 copies up front, risking thousands of dollars on inventory that might not sell. You upload the audio, the artwork, set a price that includes POD company's costs and your markup, and boom, your fans can order vinyl from your website, and a record shows up on their doorstep weeks later. This is direct-to-fan revenue generation on a level previously unimaginable for independent artists. It's reclaiming value from the ephemeral world of streaming and turning it into a tangible high-margin income. ISRC codes, your digital fingerprint and paycheck protector. Okay, so you're creating, you're pressing or printing physicals, but you also need to be in the digital space for discovery and reach. When you release music digitally, whether through aggregators like DistroKid, TuneCore, or direct to platforms like Bandcamp, there's one small, technical, but absolutely crucial element you cannot overlook: ISRC codes. An ISRC, International Standard Recording Code, is a unique identifier assigned to a specific sound recording. Think of it like a digital fingerprint for your song. Every single track you release should have one. Why are they so important? Tracking. ISRC codes are used by digital distributors, streaming services, collection societies like performing rights organizations, and chart compilers to track the usage of your specific recording worldwide. Royalties. This tracking is essential for assuring that any potential royalties generated by streams, digital downloads, or even broadcasting, in some cases, find their way back to your recording and subsequently you. Without an ISRC, your track is essentially invisible to the global royalty collection system. Metadata. The ISRC is a part of a metadata embedded in your digital audio file, helping services correctly identify and categorize your music. Getting ISRCs is typically handled by your digital distribution partner, like the aggregators mentioned. They usually assign them automatically as part of their service. It's a seemingly minor detail, but it's the backbone of getting paid, even if those payments for streaming are tiny. For the independent artist acting as their own label, understanding and ensuring correct ISRC assignment is non-negotiable. It's a piece of administrative work, yes, but it's critical to functioning as a legitimate business entity in the digital music space. The one-person music conglomerate. So let's put it all together. In the past, creating, producing, marketing, and distributing music required a team: a band, a manager, a producer, a sound engineer, a graphic designer, a record label's A&R, and marketing departments, distribution companies, publicists, and the list goes on. Each layer took a cut, dictated terms, and added complexity. Today, one determined individual armed with a decent computer, affordable software, and a willingness to learn can wear all those hats. You can write and record their music yourself. Home recording technology is incredible and affordable. Use AI to generate ideas or even parts and create professional-looking album art and visuals. Distribute your music globally to all major streaming platforms and digital stores via an online aggregator. Set up print-on-demand stores for merch and, crucially, vinyl, selling directly to fans with zero inventory risk. Promote your music directly on social media, building a community and connecting with listeners without gatekeepers, though navigating algorithms is a new challenge. Ensure you are properly set up to collect royalties by understanding and using ISRC codes and registering with performance rights organizations. This isn't just being an independent artist. This is being a music entrepreneur. You are the creator, the producer, the label, the distributor, the marketing team, and the fulfillment center via POD partners. This level of self-reliance, this ability to build a creative business from the ground up using accessible technology, is fundamentally aligned with libertarian principles. It's free enterprise in action. It's innovation breaking monopolies. It's the individual leveraging tools to bypass established power structures and build something on their own terms. It's not easy, mind you. It requires discipline, business acumen, and a relentless work ethic that many artists aren't prepared for. But the path is there. The tools are available. The control, the ownership of your masters, the direct connection with your audience, it's all within reach for the solo operator willing to embrace the modern arsenal. It allows you to be accountable only to yourself and your audience, rather than to a label demanding creative compromises or a distributor taking on an outsized cut. It's about building your own kingdom piece by piece, powered by your creativity and the incredible technology now available. And for those of us who value freedom and self-determination above all else, that's a powerful prospect. Libertarianism and the creator entrepreneur. We've talked about the tools, AI co-pilots, print-on-demand vinyl, the crucial ISRC codes that track your digital footprint. But all this technology is just potential energy without the right philosophy driving it. It's about more than just making music. It's about building a business, controlling your destiny, and embodying core libertarian values. It's about being a creator entrepreneur. Free enterprise in action. The heart of libertarianism beats with the rhythm of free enterprise. It's the idea that individuals should be able to pursue their economic goals without undue interference from the state or other powerful entities. What better example than the solo artist who builds their entire music operation from scratch? They're not waiting for a handout or permission. They're identifying a need, their creative expression, developing a product, their music, and delivering it directly to the market, their fans. This is free enterprise at its purest, a self-directed individual taking risks, innovating, and reaping the rewards, or facing the consequences of their own efforts. Free markets, direct fan engagement. The old model of the music industry was built on gatekeepers and intermediaries. Record labels controlled access to distribution. Radio controlled access to listeners. And artists were often just cogs in a machine designed to generate profit for everyone but them. Today, the free market principles of direct fan engagement dismantle that system. Artists can connect directly with their audience through social media, sell music and merchandise through their own websites, and build communities around their art without the need for traditional intermediaries. This fosters a much more direct and authentic relationship between artist and fan, leading to increased loyalty and sustainability. Fans aren't just buying music, they're investing in the artist's vision, supporting their independence, and becoming part of a movement. Self-reliance, the ultimate rebellious act. Self-reliance is the bedrock of libertarian thought. It's the belief that individuals are capable of managing their own lives and taking responsibility for their own well-being. The independent artist, by definition, is a self-reliant individual. They handle every aspect of their career, from writing and recording to marketing and distribution. They learn new skills, solve problems independently, and adapt to changing circumstances. This isn't just a career choice, it's a statement of self-sufficiency, a rejection of dependence on institutions and systems that might exploit or control them. In a world that often encourages conformity and reliance on authority, self-reliance is a deeply rebellious act. Innovation, breaking the mold. Libertarianism celebrates innovation, the constant push to improve, create, and disrupt the status quo. The independent music scene, fueled by technological advancements, is a hotbed of innovation. Artists are experimenting with new sounds, new ways of creating music, new ways of connecting with fans, and new business models. They're not bound by tradition or limited by resources. They're constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The use of AI in music production, the adoption of print-on-demand vinyl, and the embrace of direct-to-fan sales are all examples of this innovative spirit in action. It's about finding creative solutions to old problems, challenging established norms, and building a better, more equitable music ecosystem. And this ethos, this spirit of free enterprise, self-reliance, and innovation is what we embody at Monarch Holdings International Incorporated. We believe in empowering individuals, giving them the tools and the platform to express themselves authentically, challenge the status quo, and build something meaningful, whether it's through Monarch Literary, publishing challenging voices, Sovereign Sound Studio, producing groundbreaking music, or Monarch Urbanware, spreading a message of defiant freedom. We are committed to fostering a culture of creativity, independence, and entrepreneurial spirit, which aligns directly with the values we're exploring on this podcast. Introducing the engine, Monarch Holdings International Incorporated. All right, folks, let's pull back the curtain a bit and talk about the engine that powers this podcast, the entity that allows us to explore these often uncomfortable truths and champion the cause of the independent artist. Monarch Holdings International. We're not just a podcast, we're a multifaceted organization built on a core set of principles: freedom, self-reliance, and the unwavering belief in the power of the individual. We're a Nevada Incorporated S Corporation, and that structure is very deliberate, not just a legal formality. The S Corp advantage, strategy, and structure. Let's break down that S Corp designation. An S Corporation, unlike a C Corporation, is a pass-through entity for tax purposes. This means the business itself doesn't pay corporate income tax directly. Instead, the profits and losses of the business are passed through to the owner's personal income, and they pay taxes on it at their individual rate. This avoids the double taxation that can occur with C corporations, where profits are taxed at the corporate level and then again when distributed to shareholders. But the strategic advantage goes beyond just avoiding double taxation. For me personally, as a cigarette-smoking man and the head of Monarch Holdings, it's about responsible business management and maintaining a certain level of personal stability. Here's how it works. Business earnings stay in the business. As an S Corp, the money the business earns belongs to the business. This allows us to reinvest profits into growth, fund new projects like this podcast, support our subsidiaries, and build a solid financial foundation. It also gives us the flexibility to weather economic storms and adapt to challenging and changing market conditions. Strategic salary allocation. I pay myself a salary from the business, a salary that's carefully calibrated, and that's the key. This allows me to meet my personal financial obligations and maintain a reasonable standard of living, while also ensuring that the bulk of the business's earnings remain with the company to fuel its operation and expansion. Maintaining disability benefits and health care. This is a critical piece of the puzzle for me. Because my health care and disability benefits are tied to income, keeping my personal income within certain limits is essential for maintaining access to these vital resources. By strategically managing my salary from Monarch Holdings, I can ensure that I have the support I need while still building a thriving business. Now, some might call this gaming the system. I call it being a reasonable entrepreneur. It's about understanding the rules of the game and using them to your advantage, legally and ethically, to build a sustainable business and protect your personal well-being. It's not about dodging taxes or hiding income. It's about structuring your business in a way that aligns with your personal circumstances and allows you to achieve your long-term goals. And let me be clear, this is all perfectly legal and above board. We work with legal and accounting professionals to ensure that we're operating in full compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. This isn't some fly-by-night operation. It's serious business with a serious mission. More than just a business, a mission-driven enterprise. That mission: to amplify authentic voices, defend free speech, and promote the principles of liberty and self-governance. Monarch Holdings International Incorporated isn't just about making money, it's about making a difference. It's about building a platform for those who are willing to challenge the status quo, speak truth to power, and advocate for a free and more just world. We believe that the most powerful force for positive change is the individual, empowered by technology, guided by principle, and driven by a passion for freedom. And we're committed to providing these resources, the platform and the support that individuals need to make their voices heard. That's what drives us. That's what gets us out of bed in the morning. And that's what fuels our commitment to this podcast and all the other ventures under the Monarch Holdings umbrella. The Monarch Ecosystem, a portfolio of principle. So we've dissected the digital landscape for the independent artist, armed with AI, print on demand, and ISRCs. We've linked this entrepreneurial spirit to the bedrock of libertarian values, free enterprise, self-reliance, innovation. Now let's talk about how these principles aren't just abstract concepts we muse about here on the podcast. They are the living, breathing foundation of everything we do at Monarch Holdings. Think of Monarch Holdings not as just a company, but an ecosystem, a network of ventures deliberately built to embody and advance these very values. We are actively building a portfolio of operations designed to challenge established narratives, empower individuals, champion freedom, and provide platforms for authentic voices. We're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk, creating businesses that reflect the world we want to see, a world where individuals are sovereign, truth is paramount, and the free market serves the people, not just entrenched interests. As a Nevada Incorporated S Corporation, as I explained earlier, our structure allows us the financial agility and pass-through taxation model that keeps the business strong and allows me as a principal to manage my personal affairs effectively while fueling the growth of this mission-driven enterprise. But what exactly makes up this ecosystem? Let's take a look under the hood. Monarch Literary, publishing truth, not propaganda. At the heart of our content-driven mission is Monarch Literary. This is our book, music, and media publishing arm. In an era where mainstream media often functions as a filter, curating information to fit predetermined narratives, Monarch Literary was founded on the radical idea of simply publishing the truth, or at least providing a platform for voices that are genuinely seeking and speaking truth, especially when that truth challenges established power structures and commonly accepted narratives. We are here to give a voice to those who have been silenced, marginalized, or simply ignored by traditional publishing gatekeepers. This includes everything from hard-hitting nonfiction that exposes uncomfortable realities to fiction that explores complex societal issues, from music that carries a message beyond mindless entertainment to other forms of media that stimulate critical thinking and open debate. Free speech isn't just a constitutional right, it's the oxygen of a free society. Monarch Literary is dedicated to ensuring that oxygen flows freely, even when the ideas being expressed are controversial or unpopular with the powers that be. It's about fostering intellectual independence and providing the raw material people need to form their own informed opinions. Sovereign Sound Studio, the soundtrack of freedom. Music has always been a powerful vehicle for ideas and emotion, a tool for rebellion and expression. Sovereign Sound Studio Limited is our recording studio, music production company, and record label. While we are a professional studio open to various projects, our mission is particularly focused on discovering, nurturing, and promoting artists whose work resonates with libertarian ideas and a constitutionalist view of freedom and governance. Think of it as building the soundtrack for the freedom movement. We understand that art can change hearts and minds in ways that political discourse sometimes cannot. Sovereign Sound Studio provides the technical expertise and the platform for artists who want to express their passion for individual liberty, limited government, free markets, and the Constitution through their music, whether it's through rock, country, hip-hop, or any genre. If an artist has something meaningful to say about the world through the lens of freedom, we want to help them record it, produce it, and get it heard. It's about creating music with a message, music that challenges listeners and inspires thought, music that is unapologetically pro-freedom. Monarch Urban Wear Limited, wearing your defiance. Freedom isn't just something you believe, it's something you embody, something you express. Monarch Urban Wear Limited is our clothing brand, primarily focused on graphic t-shirts. But these aren't just pieces of fabric, they're statements. Our designs are iconoclastic, designed to provoke thought, challenge conformity, and proudly declare one's commitment to defiant freedom for all. We believe that clothing can be a form of peaceful protest, a walking billboard for your beliefs. Our apparel is unapologetically pro-American, celebrating the foundational principles of the nation, particularly absolute adherence to the First and Second Amendments. We believe in the absolute right of free speech, the freedom to express oneself without fear of censorship or reprisal, and the absolute right to keep and bear arms, the ultimate safeguard against tyranny and the guarantor of all other rights. While monarch urban wear isn't about fitting in, it's about standing out, about signaling your commitment to liberty in a world that increasingly pressures you to conform. It's about defiant self-expression through fashion. American Justice Enterprises Limited, Public Benefit Corporation, fighting for those who served. Our commitment to justice and individual rights extends beyond abstract principles to concrete action. American Justice Enterprises Limited is a public benefit corporation we established. A PBC is a type of for-profit corporate entity that includes a positive impact on society, employees, the community, and the environment in addition to profit as its legally defined goals. For American Justice Enterprises, that public benefit is centered around supporting those who have sacrificed the most for this country, our veterans. Specifically, this subsidiary was formed to address a pressing need we identified, providing assistance to veterans filing for a class action lawsuit against Wells Fargo. The allegations involve the unnecessary and allegedly illegal foreclosures on VA home loans, causing immense financial damage, emotional distress, and ruin for individuals who bravely served our nation. These are people who put their lives on the line, only to face hardship and injustice upon returning home. American Justice Enterprises is dedicated to helping those veterans seek accountability and obtain the justice they deserve. It's about ensuring that these promises made to our service members are kept, and that powerful institutions cannot prey upon those who are most vulnerable after their service. Monarch Trends Journal Limited, independent analysis, open debate. In a complex and rapidly changing world, understanding geopolitical trends and engaging in informed public debate is crucial for maintaining a free society. Monarch Trends Journal Limited operates a website dedicated to providing geopolitical trend reports and hosting a forum for open public debate on policy and current events. We aim to cut through the noise and provide analysis that is independent, insightful, and not beholden to any political party or corporate agenda. The forum aspect is equally important. We believe that robust, open discussion among informed citizens is essential for a healthy democracy. Monarch Trends Journals provides a space where different perspectives can be aired, evidence can be debated, and ideas can be challenged respectfully. It's about fostering a more informed citizenry and encouraging critical thinking about the forces shaping our world, domestically and internationally. We want to be a source of clarity and a catalyst for meaningful conversation outside the echo chambers of mainstream media. Monarch Analytical Limited, data-driven freedom. Understanding the landscape, whether it's the market, the political climate, or public opinion, requires solid data and analysis. Monarch Analytical Limited is our data analytics and political consulting firm. In the modern age, information is power, and the ability to gather, analyze, and interpret data effectively is critical, especially when working to advance political causes and support candidates who align with our values. Monarch Analytical provides the insights and strategic guidance needed to navigate complex political campaigns and understand public sentiment. This firm leverages data not for manipulation, but for targeted communication and effective organization, ensuring that resources are used efficiently to reach the right people with the right message. This supports not only our own internal operations, but also provides services to external clients who share our commitment to data-driven strategies in the political and social arenas. It's about bringing rigorous analysis to the fight for freedom. Americans for Economic Independence, Fueling the Populist Fire. Direct political action is a necessary component of defending liberty. Americans for Economic Independence is a non-profit corporation structured as a hybrid political action committee, PAC. This entity is specifically focused on supporting and fundraising for America First and MAGA candidates and causes. While we have a particular focus on South Carolina, we also engage with and support populist movements across the country. We believe that economic independence is intrinsically linked to individual liberty, and that populist movements, when rooted in core principles of national sovereignty and individual freedom, can be powerful forces for positive change. Americans for Economic Independence provides financial and strategic support to candidates and initiatives that advocate for policies that promote free markets, limit government overreach, prioritize national interests, and empower individual citizens economically. It's about putting resources behind the political fight for a more free and prosperous nation, candidate by candidate, cause by cause. Monarch Crypto Technologies Limited, securing digital liberty. In an age of increasing surveillance and data collection, protecting personal privacy and the security of communication is paramount. A modern expression of the Fourth Amendment, Monarch Crypto Technologies Limited, is dedicated to developing mobile phone applications that prioritize user privacy and security. Our flagship app, MySecureShare, is an encrypted file-sharing application designed for individuals who need to communicate and share sensitive information with confidence. This includes political activists organizing resistance, journalists protecting sources, and frankly, anyone else who values their digital privacy and freedom from unwanted and unwarranted intrusion. In a world where governments and corporations collect vast amounts of data, providing tools that allow for secure private communication is essential for maintaining individual autonomy and the ability to organize and speak freely without fear of being monitored. MySecureShare is built on the principle that your data and communications are your own, and you have a right to keep them from prying eyes. Love Ninjas Incorporated, ethical adult entertainment. Yes, it's possible. Finally, perhaps surprisingly to some, is our latest venture, Love Ninjas Incorporated. This is an online adult film platform. Now, before you jump to conclusions, let me explain how this fits into our ecosystem of principle. We created Love Ninjas because we saw an industry often characterized by exploitation, disrespect, and questionable ethics. We believe it's possible to create adult content that is consensual, ethical, and respectful of the individuals involved, and focuses on positive, life-affirming expression. Love Ninjas is built with robust age verification protocols to prevent access by minors, a non-negotiable ethical imperative. Beyond that, our focus is on creating a platform where performers are treated with respect, compensated fairly, and are genuine participants in creating content that is positive and consensual. It is about bringing a higher standard of ethics and respect to an industry that often lacks it, providing a space for adult artistic expression that is built on mutual respect and positive energy. It might seem like an outlier, but viewed through the lens of valuing individual autonomy, fair dealing, and challenging negative industry norms, it aligns with our broader mission of building businesses based on principle. An invitation to join the resistance, investment opportunity. So you've heard about Monarch Holdings International, our commitment to free speech, our support for independent artists, our diverse portfolio of principle-driven companies. You understand that we're not just building a business, we're building a movement. We're providing resources, platforms, and support for those who are willing to challenge the status quo, speak truth to power, and advocate for a more free and just world. And now we're extending an invitation to you to become a part of that movement. We are offering a limited investment opportunity for individuals who share our values and believe in our mission. Let us cut to the chase. Monarch Holdings International is a Nevada incorporated S corporation. This is not some faceless corporation beholden to Wall Street. We are strategically structured for agility, tax efficiency, and mission alignment. More importantly, it means limited availability. We have structured the company so that only 100 shareholders are possible, with a total of only 10,000 shares available. This is a deliberate choice. We're not looking for just anyone to invest. We're looking for partners who are deeply invested in our vision. We're seeking conservative and constitutionalist investors who want to actively support our mission to champion freedom, empower independent voices, and build a parallel economy based on principle. We believe that aligning our business with individuals who share our core beliefs strengthens our ability to affect real change. This is more than just an investment. It's a chance to put your money where your mouth is, to be a part of something bigger than yourself, to actively support the values you believe in, to join the resistance against forces that seek to silence dissenting voices and erode individual liberties. If you're interested in learning more about this exclusive investment opportunity, we encourage you to take the next step. Here's how to get in touch. Visit our website. Go to monarchholdingsinternational.com and fill out the contact form. This is the best way to provide us with your initial information and indicate your interest. Call or text. You can reach Stephen Link directly at 803-627-7533. Please call or text between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Email. Send an email to steve@monarchliterary.com outlining your interest and any initial questions you may have. We understand that you may have questions, and we are committed to responding promptly to all inquiries. We value your time and your potential partnership. We are seeking individuals who are aligned with our values and who are looking to be part of a mission-driven organization. Don't just stand on the sidelines. Join us in building a better future, one based on freedom, self-reliance, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. This is your chance to be a part of the resistance. Shadows of History, Unraveling the Opioid Conspiracy. We've been talking about freedom, about artists taking control, and building a new world. But to understand the fight for freedom, you have to understand the forces arrayed against it, forces that operate in the shadows, that manipulate markets, that exploit human weakness for profit and control. And there's no better example of that than the story of the opioid epidemic in America. It's a tragedy, yes, but it's also a conspiracy. A conspiracy not in the tinfoil hat sense, but a calculated series of actions by powerful entities, hidden behind layers of plausible deniability. The narrative they want you to believe is that the Sackler family and Purdue Pharma are solely responsible, that it's a story of corporate greed and reckless marketing, and while they certainly played a significant role, they were just one cog in a much larger machine, a machine that's been operating for decades, potentially with the complicity of elements within the government itself. This isn't just about OxyContin. It's about a deliberate and a sustained assault on the American psyche, a weakening of the national will through addiction and despair. Vietnam Shadow, the Golden Triangle, and the CIA. Let's rewind to the Vietnam War, the Golden Triangle, the region where the borders of Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar meet, was a major source of heroin. There's a long and well-documented history, explored by numerous researchers and journalists, suggesting that CIA was deeply involved in facilitating heroin trafficking out of the Golden Triangle. The motive? Allegedly to fund covert operations, to support anti-communist forces, and perhaps even to destabilize enemy populations. The evidence is circumstantial but compelling. Accounts of CIA-controlled airlines transporting opium, of intelligence officials turning a blind eye to drug smuggling, and of a network of complicit officials all paint a disturbing picture. This was the beginning of a pattern, the use of narcotics as a tool of statecraft, with devastating consequences for the American public. Iran-Contra, drugs, arms, and deception. Fast forward to the 1980s and the Iran-Contra affair. The Reagan administration, desperate to fund the Contra rebels fighting for the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, engaged in a clandestine arms for hostages deal with Iran. But the story goes deeper. Allegations surfaced and continue to persist that the Contras were also involved in drug trafficking, using cocaine to raise funds for their operations, and that elements within the Reagan administration, including figures like Oliver North, were aware of and potentially complicit in this activity. This was where the narrative thickens. It wasn't just about funding a foreign war. It was about turning a blind eye to the flow of drugs into American communities, potentially for political gain. The human cost was immense, fueling the crack epidemic and further eroding trust in government institutions. Afghanistan, poppy fields and perpetual war. The war on terror, launched after the 9/11 attacks, provided another opportunity for the narco-state connection to flourish. Afghanistan, the world's largest producer of opium, became a focal point of U.S. military involvement. Despite official rhetoric about combating the drug trade, poppy cultivation actually increased dramatically under the U.S. occupation during the Afghanistan war under Bush, Obama, and Biden administrations. Some point to the potential for CIA involvement in protecting the poppy trade to fund black ops or other clandestine activities. Again, the evidence is circumstantial, but the sheer scale of opium production under U.S. supervision raises serious questions. Were we truly fighting the war on drugs, or were we, once again, complicit in a system that profited from the suffering of others? The Sacklers, cogs in a larger machine. Now let's return to the Sackler family and Purdue Pharma. They aggressively marketed OxyContin, downplaying its addictive potential and pushing doctors to prescribe it widely. Their actions were undoubtedly reprehensible, and they deserved the condemnation they've received. But they weren't operating in a vacuum. They were benefiting from a system that had been cultivated for decades, a system where narcotics were viewed not just as a source of profit, but as a potential tool for social control. The Sacklers were simply the most visible and convenient scapegoats for a much deeper and more systemic problem. They profited immensely, but they were also shielded and enabled by larger forces. The ultimate goal, as I see it, wasn't just about making money. It was about demoralizing the American public, about undermining the resistance to authority, about creating a population that was dependent on drugs, easily controlled, and increasingly distrustful of its own government. Addiction breeds despair, and despair breeds apathy. Apathy is the enemy of freedom. Personal demons, Gethsemane and the price of subversion. So we've walked through a dark and tangled history, a potential of conspiracy of silence and shadow play, where powerful forces allegedly used addiction as a weapon. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to dismiss it just as another outlandish theory. But for me, this isn't just a detached historical analysis, it's personal. It's woven into the fabric of my own life, my own struggles. I've battled addiction, I've stared into the abyss, and I chronicled that descent, that fight for survival in my novel Gethsemane. It's not a comfortable read. It's raw, it's honest, and it lays bare the ugly truth of what addiction can do to a person, to a family, to a community. I wrote it not for sympathy, but for understanding, to shine a light on the darkness, to show others who are struggling they are not alone. But now, after delving into this alleged history of calculated demoralization through narcotics, I can't help but wonder if my own struggles were simply collateral damage in a much larger war. If the forces I battled weren't just personal demons, but also the echoes of systemic manipulation, the ripples of a deliberate effort to weaken the national spirit. Maybe that's just a convenient way to absolve myself of responsibility. Maybe it's just a cigarette-smoking man seeing conspiracies where there are none. But the timing is unsettling. The ease with which narcotics flooded our communities, the lack of genuine outrage from those in power, the sheer scale of the devastation, it all adds up to something more than individual failings and corporate greed. Perhaps addiction isn't always a personal failing. Maybe sometimes it's a consequence of being caught in the crossfire of a silent war, a war waged not with bullets and bombs, but with substances and strategies designed to erode our will to resist. It's a sobering thought, and it fuels my commitment to fighting back, to empowering individuals, and to building a world where freedom and self-reliance are not just ideals but realities. Closing thoughts, defiance, and the path forward. The threads converge. Technology empowers, systems corrupt, creativity, entrepreneurship, and individual autonomy are acts of defiance against corporate control, governmental overreach, and historical conspiracies. Monarch Holdings International Incorporated stands as a bulwark, a diverse portfolio championing freedom, authentic voices, and a parallel economy rooted in principle. Remember, the system wants compliance. Demand freedom. Create, build, resist, and question everything. Find us at monarchholdingsinternational.com. The truth is out there, but you have to secret it.